My name is Clara Harrison, and on June 14, 2023, my life was forever changed by an event that defied all logic and brought me face to face with the divine. What began as a serene hike in the rugged beauty of Montana's Glacier National Park turned into a harrowing ordeal. One that left me clinically dead for 12 minutes. Yet in those minutes, I experienced something so profound that it has become my mission to share it with others, not to instill fear, but to prepare hearts for the challenges and truths of this world. It was a bright, warm morning when I set out on the hidden lake trail. The mountains stretched endlessly before me, their snow-capped peaks shimmering in the sunlight. I'd always loved hiking alone. It was my time to reflect, to pray, and to marvel at God's creation. That day was no different, at least not at first. I carried bear spray, made noise along the trail, and followed all the precautions seasoned hikers know. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened next. I had just crested a ridge, pausing to catch my breath and take in the view, when I heard a rustling in the brush ahead. Before I could react, a massive grizzly bear burst through the trees, its sheer size and power rendering me momentarily frozen. I'd unknowingly stumbled too close to her cubs, hidden just beyond the trail. The mother bear's roar shattered the stillness, and she charged with breathtaking speed. I raised my bear spray, but in my panic, the canister slipped from my hands and tumbled to the ground. The bear was on me before I could retrieve it. Her paw struck my chest with the force of a freight train, and I was thrown to the ground, my ribs cracking under the impact. Pain blurred my senses as the world dissolved into chaos. Her claws tore through my clothing and flesh, and I could feel the life draining from me. In those moments, I prayed with every ounce of strength I had left, calling out to God to save me. Then there was nothing. No pain, no sound, no light. Just an infinite, all-encompassing silence. I later learned that rescuers found me unresponsive, my body bloodied and lifeless. The medics declared me clinically dead as they worked desperately to revive me, but while they fought to bring me back, I was elsewhere, somewhere beyond human understanding. When I opened my eyes, I was no longer in the forest. I stood in a place that seemed both vast and intimate, bathed in a light that wasn't blinding but comforting, as though it emanated love itself. The air was filled with a sense of peace so profound it brought me to tears. Before me stood a figure clothed in radiant white, whose presence exuded authority and compassion in equal measure. Though no words were spoken at first, I knew instinctively that this was God. "Claire," he said, his voice resonating like a symphony of kindness and power. "You have questions, and I have truths to share." I fell to my knees, overwhelmed by his presence. "Why did this happen?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Why did you let this bear attack me?" God extended a hand, lifting me gently to my feet. "Your pain was not in vain. You live in a world that is both broken and beautiful, a place where free will and natural law intertwine. The bear's actions were not evil, but instinctual. Yet even in this, there is purpose. Your journey is not over, Claire. What you have endured will bring light to others." He led me through a series of visions, each one more vivid than the last. I saw people struggling with fear, doubt, and anger. I saw moments of kindness and resilience, glimmers of hope in the midst of suffering. The world is filled with challenges, God said, but it is also filled with my presence. I am with you in the storm, the trial, and the pain. Trust in me, and you will find strength beyond measure. God then revealed truths that pierced my soul. He spoke of the importance of compassion, urging me to see others not as adversaries, but as fellow travelers on this journey of life. Do not let fear harden your heart, he said. Forgiveness and love are the greatest tools I have given you. Use them well. He also warned of the distractions and temptations that pull us away from him. The world will try to fill your heart with noise, he said, but my voice is in the stillness. Seek me there, and you will never be alone. As he spoke, I felt a profound sense of clarity, as though a veil had been lifted from my understanding. I saw how my own fears and doubts had often kept me from fully trusting him. I realized that even in the darkest moments, his light had never left me. Finally, God placed his hand over my heart. Claire, your time here is not yet done. Return to the world and share what you have learned. Let others know that I am with them always. In an instant, the light faded, and I was back in my broken body, gasping for air as the paramedics worked frantically to stabilize me. The pain was excruciating, but I was alive, and I was forever changed. Recovery was a long and grueling process. My injuries required multiple surgeries and months of physical therapy, but the most profound changes were within me. I no longer saw the bear attack as a senseless tragedy, but as a pivotal moment in my spiritual journey. God had given me a second chance, not just to live, but to live with purpose. I now share my story wherever I can, not to frighten others, but to inspire them. God's teachings are simple yet transformative. Love one another, forgive freely, and seek him in both joy and suffering. Life is unpredictable, filled with both beauty and trials, but through it all, God remains our constant source of strength and hope. The wilderness taught me that we are not in control, but it also showed me that we are never alone. As I continue to heal, I carry God's truths in my heart, striving to live a life that reflects his love and grace. My message to you is this: do not fear the challenges ahead. Instead, face them with faith, knowing that even in the darkest moments, God's light shines ever brighter. May his peace be with you always. Story 2. My name is Sarah Calloway. On the morning of September 18, 2024, my life took a turn I could never have imagined. What started as a peaceful hike in the Montana wilderness transformed into a harrowing encounter that changed me forever. That day, I came face to face with a grizzly bear, faced unimaginable pain, and ultimately found myself in the presence of God. What I learned in those moments will stay with me always, and I share this story not to instill fear, but to prepare believers for the trials and triumphs ahead. It was early fall, and the air was crisp with the scent of pine and earth. I'd set out to hike a trail near Glacier National Park, hoping to soak in the beauty of creation. Armed with a can of bear spray, a small first aid kit, and a backpack of essentials, I felt confident but respectful of the wilderness. As someone who'd grown up in Montana, I understood the risks. Still, nothing could have prepared me for what happened next. I had stopped to take a photograph of a stunning mountain ridge, when I heard the unmistakable rustling of something large in the brush. Before I could react, a massive grizzly bear burst through the undergrowth. Its eyes locked on mine, and I knew instantly it saw me as a threat. I reached for my bear spray, but the bear was faster. It charged, knocking me off my feet with a force that sent my world spinning. The details of the attack are a blur of pain and fear. Its claws tore into me, and I felt the weight of its massive body pressing me into the ground. I screamed, fought, and prayed, but within moments, everything went dark. Later, I would learn that emergency responders found me unresponsive, my pulse weak and fading. Clinically, I was dead for nearly 4 minutes. In that darkness, I found myself enveloped in an overwhelming sense of peace. It was as though I had stepped out of my broken body and into a place of light and love. The world around me was indescribable, beautiful beyond words. Colors seemed more vibrant, and the air itself seemed to hum with harmony. Then I saw him. Standing before me was a figure of indescribable radiance. Though his appearance was beyond what words can convey, I knew without a doubt it was God. His presence filled me with both awe and comfort, like being wrapped in the arms of a parent after a long journey. I knelt before him, overwhelmed by his majesty. He reached out, and in his touch, I felt a flood of knowledge and understanding. God revealed to me the interconnectedness of all creation, the importance of faith, and the trials humanity must prepare for in the coming days. One of the most profound lessons God shared was the significance of love. Not just the love we show one another, but the boundless love He has for all of us. He spoke of how humanity often loses sight of this love amidst the chaos of life. God also shared insights into the trials facing the world. He spoke of growing division, environmental destruction, and the spiritual battles waging unseen. Yet, His message was not one of despair. The darkness cannot overcome the light, He reminded me. But you must be steadfast. Encourage others to hold fast to faith, for the challenges ahead will test even the strongest hearts. He then shared words directly from Scripture, filling my mind and heart with their power. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand firm. Stand therefore, having fastened on the belt of truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and, as shoes for your feet, having put on the readiness given by the gospel of peace. In all circumstances, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming darts of the evil one, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying at all times in the Spirit, with all prayer and supplication. To that end, keep alert with all perseverance, making supplication for all the saints. These words resonated deeply. God's message was clear. While the world may grow darker, His people must shine brighter. Faith, righteousness, and love are our armor against the challenges to come. As His words faded, so did the light around me. I felt myself pulled back, as though through a tunnel, and then the pain returned. My eyes opened to paramedics working frantically to stabilize me. I was alive. Recovery was a long and grueling process. The bear attack left me with scars, physical and emotional, but also with a renewed sense of purpose. I realized that I had been given a gift, the chance to share God's message with the world. Today I bear the scars of that day as a testament to God's grace and the truths He revealed. My story is not meant to frighten, but to prepare. We live in a world filled with uncertainty, but also with hope. God's message is clear. Love one another, hold fast to faith, and be vigilant against the trials that lie ahead. The wilderness taught me respect for nature's power, but my encounter with God taught me something far greater: that His love and guidance are with us, even in our darkest moments. As we face the challenges of life, may we remember His words and carry His light into the world. Story 3. The crisp fall air in Banff National Park carried a sense of serenity, a stillness that lured adventurers seeking to escape the noise of civilization. The couple, seasoned outdoors enthusiasts, had ventured deep into the backcountry, far from the well-trodden trails. Their campsite, nestled in a grove of pines near a small glimmering lake, seemed like the perfect place to unwind with their dog. The wilderness stretched around them, breathtaking and vast, offering the kind of solitude only nature can provide. But in these remote woods, beauty can mask danger, and peace can shatter in an instant. It was late in the season, the time when grizzlies are at their most unpredictable. As the bears prepare for the long, harsh months of hibernation, they become singularly focused on one thing: food. Hyperphagic, as biologists call it, a relentless drive to consume as many calories as possible. Every berry bush, carcass, or poorly stored food bag becomes a potential trigger for these apex predators. And humans, despite their best intentions, often find themselves unwittingly in the way. The couple had taken every precaution they knew of. Their food was hung high in a tree, their campsite clean, and their dog kept close. They'd camped in bear country before, and they understood the rules: respect the wildlife, stay alert, and tread lightly. But even the most experienced adventurers can be caught off guard. That evening, as the sun dipped behind the jagged peaks and the sky burned with the oranges and purples of twilight, they gathered around a small fire. The dog lay at their feet, tail thumping contentedly against the pine needles. The couple laughed softly, their voices carrying just far enough to mingle with the rustling of the trees. They had no idea that something massive and silent had been watching them for hours. The grizzly was a large male, its frame made even bulkier by weeks of constant feeding. It had likely caught the scent of their camp earlier in the day, its sensitive nose picking up the faintest traces of human presence, mixed with the tantalizing smells of food. To the bear, this wasn't a campsite, it was an opportunity. The attack came after nightfall, when the fire had burned low and the couple was settling into their tent. The first warning was the dog. It sprang up suddenly, growling low and fierce, its hackles raised. The man unzipped the tent just as the grizzly charged into the campsite. The bear was a force of nature, all raw muscle and intent, moving with a speed that defied its size. The man barely had time to react. The bear tore through the campsite, swiping aside gear and knocking the tent flat in an instant. The dog lunged at the predator, barking and snapping, trying desperately to protect its humans. But the grizzly's sheer power was overwhelming, and the couple's attempts to drive it away, shouting, waving a flashlight, grabbing for bear spray, were futile against the beast's determination. Inside the collapsed tent, chaos reigned. The woman screamed, her voice echoing into the darkness, a sound that carried no help, only despair. The man fought with everything he had, swinging a hatchet wildly, his strikes glancing off the bear's thick fur and hide. The dog continued its valiant defense, its smaller frame darting and snapping at the bear's legs, but it was no match for the grizzly's wrath. In the aftermath, the forest fell silent. The fire had long since died out, and the campsite lay in ruins. When the couple failed to check in as planned, park officials launched a search the next day. The site they found was one of unimaginable devastation. The campsite bore the signs of a ferocious struggle: shredded gear, claw marks gouged deep into the earth, and scattered belongings that spoke of a fight against impossible odds. Park officials, understanding the urgency of the situation, began tracking the bear immediately. It wasn't long before they found it, still lingering near the area. The bear showed no fear of humans, its aggression a clear sign that it had crossed a line from natural predator to active threat. With heavy hearts, they made the decision to euthanize the animal, prioritizing the safety of other visitors and the delicate balance of the park's ecosystem. The attack sent shockwaves through the outdoor community, a stark reminder of the risks inherent in backcountry travel. No amount of experience or preparation can guarantee safety in the wilderness, especially during the volatile autumn months, when bears are driven by instinct. For those who venture into these untamed places, the rules of nature are unyielding, and the price of missteps or even chance encounters can be devastating. The couple's story is one of both tragedy and respect for the raw power of the wild. They had loved the outdoors, cherished the freedom it offered, and accepted the risks that came with it. Their loss is a somber reminder that while the wilderness is breathtakingly beautiful, it is also indifferent, a place where humans are guests at best and intruders at worst. For those who knew them, the memory of their adventurous spirits will live on, a testament to the allure of nature and its unforgiving reality. In the shadows of Banff's peaks, their story lingers, a cautionary tale for all who dare to walk the line between awe and danger in the wild. If you found this video insightful, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for the latest videos on wildlife safety, survival tips, and fascinating animal stories. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next one.